Welcome to Canary Corner this month from the island of Tenerife. And the transition from standard definition to high definition videos took place for me in 2006 when I bought a Sony HC3 camcorder. We're starting out with some video taken in 2005, the year before, and this is on, of course, the standard definition camcorder with the square screen pictures. I'm showing you this particular clip because it was an event that hasn't happened to us before. We were coming down the hill from Tomaimo, which is a village above Los Gigantes, and there's a winding mountain road that you come down on, and halfway down this car was on fire, and occasionally there was a bang, a sort of mini explosion as things like the tyres blew out. Most of the traffic waited at the top of the hill or the bottom of the hill because they could see this, but there's always somebody who thinks it's safe to go past. And so they did. Eventually the car started to burn itself out and we came down the hill. The other piece of standard definition I'd like to show you was a ferry trip that we took from Los Cristianos over to the island of La Gomera. Now that's of course a separate Canary Island that we're not covering this time, and I will show you some footage from La Gomera on another occasion. Just thought you might be interested in this rather large ferry boat from Fred Olsen. Very comfortable, had all mod cons on board, and a very enjoyable trip over to the islands. High definition was all brand new in 2006, and this Sony camcorder that I bought at that time is still in use today. The tape transport's broken, but it still works as a camera and gives an external feed on a firewire connection. Here's where the quality of the pictures changes. You've got a lot more pixels, and therefore you can zoom out a lot and still see some detail. With the old standard definition, if you wanted to see people clearly, you really had to zoom in on them. That's not to say I didn't do a lot of zooming on this new camera because it's a new toy to play with, but this is a look round Tenerife, from the sea to the mountain areas, the volcanic regions, and of course the wild ocean that rocks onto the shores all around the island. We used to stay in apartments like these. They're tiered into the mountains so you all get a view, and I played with the zoom a bit here so you can see how it's set above the marina at Los Gigantes. Marina suggests boats, and there are lots of boat trips going out into the Atlantic Ocean. There's fishing out there, there's whales, there's dolphins. Well, there's all sorts of things you can find if you're in the right kind of boat and you've gone to the right area. Now you can go out in a little boat like this one that you perhaps might own yourself, or you can go out in one of the bigger boats like the Spanish galleon or a catamaran, or a little yellow tour boat that goes out to see the whales. We'll go in one of those later on. So all this done with the Sony HDR3, as I said, and this is the cliffs at Los Gigantes. This is the area we normally stay in because it's not as busy as Playa de las Americas and Los Cristianos further down south. There's a population of cats that live on the marina, and I say a population, there's only a few, but we got to know them all personally because there's all these cafes along the front, and they used to come and see us. So here's the yellow boat coming in. We're going out on the next trip, and we're going to have a life on the ocean waves. Yeah, it really is the Atlantic Ocean, and a closer look at those cliffs. Well, this high definition video was shot in December 2007, and of course that means it's Christmas. So there's a few signs of Christmas about, but there's carols playing and sun beaming down on you. If I'd have taken a shot like this in standard definition, you wouldn't have seen much detail, but you can see a lot of detail here on the cliffs and the trees across Crab Island. And talking of Crab Island, we took up a position just above the ocean, and we could see down to what looks like an infinity pool. It's just separate from the ocean, and from there we watched people going down to the ocean into this pool. And it separates you from the ocean, but that's not what these particular swimmers wanted. So we used the zoom again to close in and have a closer look at what they're doing. They're sitting right on the edge, waiting for the waves. That's where they're getting their thrills from. Zoomed out and zoomed in from exactly the same camera position. And with the camera stuck on a rock, we could even get ourselves into the picture. The other thing that's reasonably unique to this island, I think, is the dry stone walling everywhere, and there are lots of high flat walls like this, and all the cracks make it very easy for the lizards to live and hide in the wall. Oh, that's a cat, and it's not by a dry stone wall. You know, the dry stone wall is something that attracts a lot of people. They're all taking photographs, and at first you wonder what are they taking. Now this is our favourite commercial centre. It was built on our favourite spot where we used to sit and look out to La Gomera across the ocean, and we thought that building a commercial centre here wasn't a good thing. But eventually we were converted because there was an excellent Austrian restaurant, and we used to sit up on the balcony and have the same view, at the same time enjoying food and drink, so that was not a bad result. So this is mid-December 2007, it's hot, it's sunny, it's sunbathing weather, and it's good for the lizards who are out and about and active. Oh, and did I mention it's Christmas? In Tenerife, as in most of Spain, the cats live wild, but they're fairly tame here in Los Gigantes. And I didn't realise when I was being filmed with this cat that it was pregnant. And I was stroking its head and back and it was enjoying it, and then it rolled over and I went to tickle its belly and it went for me. Yes, I hadn't realised at that point that it was carrying kittens, so that didn't go down too well. But in general, the cats are nice-natured here and they live wild, and the terrain they have to live on is absolutely fantastic. Huge rocky climbs and views of the ocean. I think if I was a cat, I'd be quite happy to live here.